Hey there, welcome back friends. In this video we will continue our journey and we will try to implement the param converter for our custom data type, which is currency. Alright, so currency object is there with us and we need to create a converter for currency. And we already seen this error in our console, where there is no specific injection source provided by us because the class which we are using here is a custom class. The type is definitely a custom type and the type is currency. Alright, now in order to create a param converter, definitely we would be creating a new class. So let us create a new class and we will give the name as currency param converter. Here we go. Let me click on finish. Alright. Now friends, let me show you one thing. In here we need to definitely implement the converter, param converter. So if we try to auto complete, there are two things: param converter provider and param converter. So for example, we simply implement the param converter, and this converter would be for type what? For type currency. So let me do that. So it would be like type of currency. And now let us implement the unimplemented methods. So in here, we have two methods, from string and toString. From string is the method where we will implement the business logic, and toString is the method where we will simply return the value in the form of a string. Alright, now friends, whatever value we receive as a query param or a path param, it is always in the form of a string. As a result, the parameter is a string. Now friends, whenever we would be returning the value, we will receive a currency object and we need to convert the currency object to a string object. This is the reason why the parameter is currency. Now let's move forward and let us implement the business logic in here. Alright, so in here what it is, we need to set the objects based on the currency code. So in here, let me show you one thing. We have this file which is the currency file, where we have the constructor, a parameterized constructor, and the toString method. That's okay, right? And if we check the URL is based on the query param. Let me show you. So there should be a query param with name as code, and this code is very important. So let me show you. It would be like question mark code equals, for example, EUR, right? And now if we simply check this, there is again error. But the most important thing is that we are getting the code value. All right. So now in here, we will add a switch case, and that code value would be received here inside this variable value. In fact, I will make it as code. That would be good. So there would be a switch case, and this switch would be based on code, and there would be multiple cases. Case euro. Here we go. And whenever we receive this code as euro, then what we will do, we will create a new object of currency type. Now for every case, creating a new object won't be a good idea, so rather let's create a reference first. So it would be like currency equals null. So we will simply create a reference first of all, and in here we will say currency equals new currency, and we will give the code as code which we receive as a query param, but the currency would be a custom value. It would be euro, and then we will call in the break statement. So this is the code for setting the case of euro. Let me copy this. Let me paste it couple of times. Second currency could be like USD. It would be like US dollar. Then third currency could be INR, and let me also update this as EUR, all uppercase, and it would be like rupees. Alright, so these three currencies are a good sample size, good enough. Now friends, there could be a issue. For example, the code is not in uppercase and things like that. As a result, let's do one thing. Let's make every query param, whatever value we receive, to upper. So in here, for this switch case, we will like convert everything to upper, and then we will make use of these cases. This will add a additional layer. Alright, so this is good, and once we set the values, we will simply return the currency. Alright, so this is good. Now moving forward, let us override the toString method, and in here this is fairly straightforward. It would be like currency, let me update the name, and we already have a toString method here, so it would be rather very simple for us. It would be like currency dot toString, and our work is done. Alright, we have missed the statement return. This is a silly mistake though. Alright, so everything is done, but this particular method is what? This method, this class is nothing but a param converter. But in order to work with this query param, we want a query param provider. So now let's move forward, and now we will be creating a param converter provider. Alright, now friends, it would be rather good to create a package first, and this package would be or.stdec.converters, and we will move this particular file inside this particular package. Now inside this package converters, we would be creating a new class, and it would be like currency param converter provider. Alright, and this will implement param converter provider. Now friends, as soon as we autocomplete, it will start complaining. Let me add the unimplemented methods, and if we check the unimplemented method, the name of the method is getConverter, and this converter does what? This converter will definitely return a param converter type. So this param converter is what? This param converter is nothing but, let me show you, this particular class. So we already have this param converter for this currency type. So we can do what? We can simply return a object of currency param converter in here. So can we do that? Let me show you. So in here, if we say return new currency param converter, will it work? It will start complaining. It will say add the cast to param converter. Can we cast it? Yes, we can cast it, and now our work is done in fact. So now if I run this program on the server, then let us check what happens. Alright, the application is up and running, and now let me navigate to chexrs/app $code equals, for example, INR. There is a crash. Let me check our code. Let me navigate to currency converter. Everything is good enough. Alright, we have missed on a annotation, which is provider annotation. Alright, now we have to mark this class as a provider, then only this param converter will get registered. So this is a mistake which we have did. Let me close these files, and now let me retry. Alright, the application is up and running, and in here let us navigate to chexrs slash app question mark code equals INR, and here is the output. Perfect. If we make use of the code as a USD, again it should work. And finally, let us check EUR. It's working perfectly. And if definitely we add some random code, then it will give us the output as null. This is good, and this is where we are making use of param converter. Now definitely param converter are useful things to automate things, but for example we wish to skip on param converters, we can. For example, we receive the value as a string and then add the business logic inside this method. Even that is possible, but that will add some additional layer in our application, and it is always good to make use of param converters. It will automate couple of things. Alright, so the conversion part is working perfectly. Now there is a small little thing. In here we are simply returning a object of currency param converter. In here we can make use of a inner class and implement the logic just inside this class only, and we can skip on creating this new class. So even that is possible, and that is something which we will see in our next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day and take care.